Okay, well, here's a little video that I took out in the garden, and you've probably seen something similar to this in your own garden. But this is what corn plants look like right before they start to make ears. You've probably got some of these in your garden at home. If not, ask your grandparents or maybe a neighbor if they have any corn. But it looks like this. It all starts with one single piece of corn you plant in the ground and you fertilize it. And then this is the top of the corn plant. It has little bitty flowers all over it. That's what these are. They're really flowers. And each little flower has what they call pollen inside of it, which looks like gold dust. But if you shake it like this, or if the wind blows, it helps to make that pollen loosen up and fall out of the flowers. And maybe Mr. Bumblebee comes by and touches the pollen and gets it all over him. But the pollen has to travel, and so it uses the wind to travel. And a lot of times it'll blow on another corn plant, but it has to find a place to go to make the ear that we like to eat. So each one of these flowers drops its pollen into the air on a good windy day, and that's where the magic begins. Now down below, there's one right here. In between each leaf and the stalk are what they call silks. And this is the end of the ear of corn when it's a baby. They're all nice and wet, and they're colored purple like you see here. And each one of these are really pollen tubes. They're not hair at all. And they're just the right size for the pollen to attach to the end of each tube, and then it travels down into the corn plant where the ear starts to make its kernels. And see, each kernel sends up a silk to the end of the ear, and once again the pollen starts up here in the tassel, blows in the wind, and it falls down below and catches down in those silks. But every kernel on the ear has to have its own pollen tube. And that's what all this hair is on an ear of corn. I bet you didn't know that. Now see, this one isn't very big, it's real tiny, but there's where the kernels all are down below. And if you'll go to a corn plant before it makes its ears, you'll see, if you squeeze it like this, you can feel the little baby kernels starting to swell up because they're getting their pollen. And every corn plant's the same. Now if you look at some other plants, every place that where a leaf joins the stem, like right here, an ear can form. Here's a larger one. See how it starts in the beginning and goes down? That's going to be an ear on this plant. There's another little one. But once one starts to receive pollen, the rest of them stop. And of course we also have, since everybody likes corn, even the bugs, we also have to worry about bugs. We got to keep them off of our corn if we can. But hopefully the farmer that planted this crop and all the crops around has protected his corn, so the bugs won't get it. So that's the story. This is kind of what it looks like up close before the kernels have really formed. But that's a secret I bet you might not have known about corn. Now, let's go back in and take a look at a real ear of corn. See you in a minute.